Okay. Awesome. Thanks for the technical help there, Andrea. Okay. So in this presentation, I'm actually going to be covering quite a bit today. So hopefully we can get through it in about an hour. At some point, I may be talking a little bit fast. And I can't see, right now I can't see the chat box either. So I can't see, you may have to like go like this if you really want to ask a question. Okay, sorry. But here's what we'll be covering. Setting up your website for success, SEO metrics you need to track, how to view organic search traffic, off-page SEO strategies that will rank you on page 1 of Google, how to drive more traffic using Google image search, and some cool tricks that I'm gonna show you. It's gonna be fun. So if you stay till the end, then yeah. Okay. So for people who are just joining right now, yeah, if you guys have a question right now, because I can't really see the chat box with my full screen like this. So maybe if you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself or like kind of, you know, raise your hand a little bit. Okay. And this presentation is being recorded. So I'll be sending you guys an email probably tomorrow, so with a link to the recording. So a little bit about myself. My name is Glynis, and I'm a clothing brand owner turned business consultant and SEO specialist. I have 20 years apparel industry experience. So I worked for big brands, companies like Monaco, Hudson's Bay Company, Reebok, Dollhouse, and I also had for 10 years, and I also ran my own clothing design company called Punch Brand for a decade as well. So I have both experience, you know, working for brands as well as an entrepreneur myself, my own business. And what I'm really passionate about is that I love helping creative entrepreneurs build a purposeful and profitable business so they can make a living doing what they love. And the reason why I got into SEO is I know there's like not many people in this niche, like who's like, you know, fashion design consultant and SEO specialist. It's kind of like how I find my brain works. I'm very balanced in left brain, right brain type of thing. And I find with creative people, they often find SEO to be very confusing. There's so much technical stuff, or sometimes they feel it's like, well, what is SEO? It's kind of like some mystical thing that they don't really understand. It's just like hocus pocus to them. Okay, so that's what I just here. Really, my goal is to teach people, especially, you know, founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, and all those, just to at least have a basic understanding of what SEO is. Okay, whether you decide to do it yourself or you hire out an agency, like myself, you want to at least know that, you know, your SEO is working, and how does, if you know, how to measure the performance, and it is measurable. Okay, so I'm the founder of Chase Your Dreams, which offers strategy, business consulting, and SEO services for apparel companies. And I also have a podcast called Chase Your Dreams Podcast, and it's a podcast for fashion entrepreneurs. And you can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Anchor, and yeah, most podcast platforms. And just some of my media I've been featured in. Okay, so let's get into this presentation. So setting up your website for success. What is SEO? So SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's the practice of getting your website to rank organically on the top of search engine results, like on top of Google search engine. Okay, so the key is that it's organic, right? As opposed to paid advertisement like Google ads, Facebook ads. SEO is entirely organic. Okay. And for those who didn't attend my last few webinars, I always like to go over how Google actually works. So Google has automated software called search bots or spiders that go in and they crawl the web, and then they add those pages that they crawl to Google's index, which is a huge catalog of trillions of web pages. So when people search Google, Google shows the most relevant results from that catalog. Okay? And so here, let's talk about how to set up your website for success. So, okay, you got to have at least these things installed, okay, on your website, so that it's able to track your performance for your website. So Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and so Google Analytics will tell you what your site traffic is: organic, paid, social traffic. Google Search Console tells you which keywords that your site is ranking for. And it's also a place where you would submit your site map to tell Google to crawl your page. And then Google Tag Manager, which I had to try to get my head around what this actually is, but it's a tool that it helps marketers to add and update web tags, which are snippets of code on your site that collect data. That includes your conversion tracking, site analytics, and remarketing, just with a few clicks without needing to edit your website code. So I think it's a way for marketers to be able to track their tags, but without having to actually ask their web developers or bug their web developers all the time. And I put a link here if you want to learn more about what Google Tag Manager is, how it works, and how to install it. And I also have all the links here, how to install Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Usually when you set those up, then you get a code that you can put into, like, say if you have a Shopify site, there's a section there that says to put in the your Google Analytics code, and you just copy and paste that in there. And also if your local business, Google My Business is good to have. That's, so that you show up in the local maps. So you would make sure that you would have your name, address, phone number, all that listed. And so, yeah, so that when someone searches for, your business, then you'll show up on the local pack or the maps that show up. And then lastly, Facebook Pixel is good to have. Try to do that as soon as you can, so that Facebook can start tracking and gathering the data for like your target audience and all that stuff. It needs time to like accumulate the data and for the algorithm and stuff like that. So yeah, so these are like tools that you should have installed to be able to track and measure your website performance. Okay. Okay. So did you know that there are over 200 Google ranking factors? And so this is the actual algorithm, right? Like Google looks at these different factors on how they rank a website. And when I tell people this, they're often like, oh my God, really? There's 200? So there's a link here as if you want to know what they all are. You can go read up about that. on my presentation about Google ranking factors, I actually break it down into like, what are the top 10 most important ranking factors? And I create a checklist. So I could actually give you guys a download of that checklist as well. That would help you, and just be able to identify what are the most important ranking factors, because it's impossible. You can't do like cover all of these. Okay. So SEO metrics that you need to track. So I don't know if anyone who follows me on Instagram, I posted this the other day of 5 SEO metrics you need to track in your clothing business. Okay, so keyword rankings. So keyword ranking metric measures your search engine ranking for targeted keywords and analyzes the changes in that ranking over time. So if your keyword appears in the top 3 results, then you're going to get the most clicks. So it's important to try to get your keywords to rank on the first page of Google, because that's where 95% of traffic goes, and hardly anyone goes to page 2 of Google. It's like they have this kind of lame SEO joke that says the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of Google. So, so that's why I'm talking about keyword rankings. Like, yeah, make sure you try to get your keywords to rank on page 1, if not in the top 3 results. So then number of backlinks. So backlinks are inbound links that are pointing to your website, and backlinks to your website are a signal to search engines that others vouch for your content, and it has a positive effect on a site's ranking position. And so that means getting inbound links are links that are website links that are linking from other websites to your website. So for example, if you have a clothing brand, or sustainable clothing brand, maybe you want to reach out to some bloggers or influencers or any, specific news sites that target sustainable fashion, and ask to get written up, ask to be featured, try to, if they can promote your content, or if you could be a guest for them, do guest posting, get featured, get product review, get listed on their directory. And actually, I'm going to be talking more about off-page SEO later in this presentation, but try to accumulate backlinks because it's a big ranking factor for Google. Okay. So the next thing is search traffic. So organic traffic refers to the visitors that land on your website as a result of unpaid organic search results. So to determine how much traffic your site is getting from search is with Google Analytics, which is what I talked about before, and why it's important to have Google Analytics installed. And I'm actually going to talk about how to check your organic search traffic right after this. Okay, and then domain authority. So domain authority is a score in a search engine ranking, is a search engine ranking score that predicts how well a website will rank on search engine results pages. A domain authority score ranges from 1 to 100, with higher scores corresponding to a greater ability to rank. Okay, so websites get assign a domain authority score, and it basically tells you that website's ability to rank on search engines. And so the higher the number your domain authority score is, the higher you are able to rank. Okay, and so sites like Facebook, Wikipedia, YouTube, Google, obviously, like they all have high domain authority scores of like 100, maybe 90, 100, something like that. So that's why, you know, domain authority score is important, and usually backlinks have play into your domain authority score and raising your domain authority score as well. So like when I do competitive research, competitive analysis, if I'm working on a client site and I look at the well, what their domain authority score is, and then I look at what the competitor's domain authority score is, and trying to see like, okay, well, how can we, you know, kind of get that closer? And sometimes if they say, well, you know, I like to, my competitor is like, say, Lululemon. Well, Lululemon has a domain authority of like 75, and say if your website domain authority is like 15, it's kind of like, well, you can't really say, you can't compare that, right? Like to that domain authority. So try to find competitors that perhaps are closer to you and maybe 20s to 30. Domain authority is more maybe independent brands or stuff like that. And then conversion rate. Conversion rate is a percentage of visitors to your site that complete a desired goal, which is a conversion of the total number of visitors. A good conversion rate for fashion e-commerce is 2 to 3%. Okay, so that's the number of people that visit your site and who end up actually like making a purchase or, you know, checking out something that, but that's a conversion rate. Okay. Okay, so how to view only organic search traffic. So this is what I talked about earlier in terms of how to check what is your organic search traffic. And so when you go into Google Analytics, you'll go into a part here on the left-hand side column, you'll see it says channels. And so you click on this channels and it takes you to this. And then you'll see like, okay, it gives you organic search, direct, referral, paid search, social, email. This is where all your traffic's coming from, right? So this top number one says organic search. So this is your traffic you're getting from organic search. So this is how you can find out, you know, what is your organic search traffic? It's not a mystery, right? You have your access to free tools that can actually tell you, give you this information. So yeah, that's why, you know, it's important to have Google Analytics installed. Okay. I'm just going to show you this quickly because I'm not sure how many people here have been to my first presentation. I explain what SEO is, and really SEO is made up of 3 parts, and that's technical SEO, on-page SEO, and off-page SEO. So technical SEO is the process of crawling, optimizing your website for Google to be able to crawl and index your website. And on-page SEO is the practice of optimizing your individual web pages in order to rank higher. So it could be like optimizing your title tags and your meta descriptions, your image alt text, that sort of thing, and your content. That's all on-page SEO. That's stuff that happens directly on your website. Off-page SEO refers to the actions that are taken outside of your own website to impact your rankings within the search engine results pages, okay? And so that's what I was talking about in terms of backlinks, inbound links, getting links from other sites. That link building is a strategy. That's an off-page SEO strategy. So if you can just kind of just see this diagram, I tried to make this very simple for creative people to understand what SEO is. If you think about SEO, it's basically made up of these 3 components, okay? That's what SEO is. So now I'm going to talk about off-page SEO strategies that will help you rank higher on Google, okay? So as I said before, off-page SEO refers to actions taken outside of your own website to impact your rankings within the search engine result pages. So here are some strategies that you can use to get some more traffic to your site. So part of this could be like in link building and creating some kind of an outreach program. And I mean, link building takes time. It's acquiring backlinks. It takes time. And there's no like, you know, secret formula to doing it. It just takes time. Like it requires you to research, to find out, you know, articles or bloggers or influencers in your space, in your niche, finding out who they are. So researching them, finding other articles that perhaps have been written up about your competitors, and then reaching out to perhaps the author or blogger who wrote the article, and then asking them, you know, if they could write something up about you, or if you could do guest posts. So that's what here content creation is, okay? So the first strategy is content creation, which is to share your expertise. So that could be in a blog, guest posting, etc. And so through your research, you can see if perhaps, you know, what has been written up on the topic and about your competitors, and maybe you can provide a new perspective on some old data or research, or you can also repurpose old content and share successful old content as well. So there's nothing wrong with repurposing existing content, right? And you could just update something that you have before. Yeah, Andrea?
So if we're doing that and like say I have a new perspective on old data, is that something that should be the same, like also on a guest post or somewhere else, or where would that be posted?
Yeah, like say you want to share your knowledge, your expertise, right, on fashion styling, right, on your area of expertise, because you're an expert what you do. And so you could write new content, fresh content that like it's not been done before, or you can take something that maybe you see something that's been written up that you see up there that's online, and you're like, well, I want to offer my perspective on this, you know. That's something you can do. And then or you may have something that exists in a blog post or article you've written, and you want to repurpose that, maybe provide some updated information. Like always be updating your content as well on your site so it doesn't go stale, because that's a Google ranking factor. It's like they look at the freshness of the content. So you don't necessarily have to be always producing new content. You could just update existing content. If there's something new, like, you know, fact, just go and update that and keep it fresh, right? That sort of thing. It depends on if you're the expert in your field, in your niche. So if you see something that's like really missing, like, and you think that people could really, it could help someone, right, with this, then by all means, that's what you should reach out to them. And maybe it's something that hasn't been covered before, like, right? And then, so interviews would be like, say you want to interview someone that's relevant to your niche, or someone who's famous, or an influencer. Like I have a podcast, I interview people, and the people, my guests, they end up promoting my podcast episodes to their audience. So that just helps you expand your audience reach, but also you can also be interviewed as well somewhere as well, and then you can get some links to back to your site. And then broken link building. Okay, so this is a strategy that you go out, you look for links that point to other pages that don't exist. So they're broken links. Sometimes you come across something and click on it and it gives you like a 404 error. It says a link, the page doesn't exist. So you're like, oh, if you've come across the broken links, then you can go and say, hey, maybe you want to link to my article here. Say someone could be like, here's talking about something, say on your favorite, niche blog, they're linking to somebody's content and you find that the link is broken. So you can reach out and say, hey, I noticed this link is broken, but I have some content. Maybe you want to point to that. And in a way, it's kind of like, instead of you asking for something, you're actually offering to help. And so that's another approach, because people tend to, approach it in a way of like asking, but not really giving back anything in return. So if you can have something to give back and to offer to help, that may also be a good approach. And you can use something called Check My Links. And it's a Chrome extension. You just install this into Chrome, and any website you use, it will show you the broken links on that website. Okay? You can even use this on your own website to see if you have any broken links that need to be fixed. Okay? Okay, so another strategy would be finding unlinked mentions. So you can go on and look for mentions of your company, but there's no link to your site. Okay, so they may mention you somewhere online. You'll see someone mentioned your company, but they didn't put a link back to your website. So you can set something called Google Alert to notify you when, anytime there's a mention on, like, it'll ask you, what do you want to be alerted on? You can even put in some keywords or something, or anything you could put in your brand name. So anytime there's some kind of mention online about that word, you'll get a Google alert. Okay. And then, so resource pages, it'd be a good place to get some links as well. Resource pages, directories, like that sort of thing. Guides, I find sometimes there's like guides that say, I've come across a list that says like 100 plus Canadian sustainable fashion brands, and there was a list of all of them with links to all the websites. So it's a good place to start to look for these, like, resources, guides, that sort of thing, and start asking, and then try to ask for a link. And then getting involved in your local community, especially if you have a local business, you can look for local sponsorships and charity work, and how can you be involved in the local community. You can start building your links from local businesses and websites. Okay. And then finding link opportunities in Google. So just like, the resource pages, charities, and sponsorships and stuff, there's actually kind of a really cool function. It's called a search operator. Okay. And if you've never heard of what a search operator is, it's This is like beyond like doing a typical Google search where you just type in something into the search. You can actually look for specific information. Like if you use a search operator, so you type in, like say you are trying to look for sponsorship opportunities in Vancouver. You would type in Vancouver in URL sponsorships, and now give you a page, like all the listings of anything to do with sponsorships in Vancouver. So in the city, whatever your city is, right? You put Atlanta in URL sponsorships, and it'll show you every site that has sponsorships in the URL in your city. So it's a really cool trick that you could use to go and find out, oh, you know, all of these websites have sponsorships. There you could find opportunities to reach out if you want to be a sponsor to something. Okay, so these are some strategies for off-page SEO. Okay, so now I want to talk about driving traffic to your site by using Google image search. Okay, so I think with many product-based businesses, this will be a good thing, because I mean, content is still important. Okay, it can't be overlooked, but also ranking for your images, because you know, when you click on image and then you see all these results of images that come up, and that will help you if you optimize your image for image search. It'll help you show up higher in the image search results, which impacts SEO. Okay, so how do you do that? You have to optimize your images. It's called image SEO. And this is a trick that not a lot of people know about, not a lot of people talk about, but it's important. It kind of gets overlooked, because I find when I'm working with clients that they don't usually optimize their images or put anything in the image alt text. So how do you optimize the images? Well, first you have to edit your file name. So it starts with the actual file that you upload. So you make sure that the name of your file reflects the content of the image, okay? Like, you know how sometimes you upload image from your camera and it's something like DGB0001, whatever, or like, you know, from, it'll say like from your phone, it's some weird thing, or it'll say image one. Like, don't do that. Don't use the default image file name. Rename your files, okay, to the actual name of what the image is, and save it as a JPEG. And then you should always modify your image alt text. So in Shopify, you know, you'll see that it says image alt text. This is where you put it in. It should be an accurate description of the image. It's around 125 characters, okay? Describe what the image is, because image alt text serves two purposes here. First of all, is sometimes when your site doesn't load properly and you get this like white box, the image alt text will display and show you. So that's what the image should be, okay? And it's also for visually impaired. Okay, so that is it's a Google ranking factor to take into account for image, like visually impaired people, if they can't see, like that's what the image alt text, essentially, that's what it's for. So you should describe the image, okay? And then the third thing to do is you've got to compress your images. So here's some couple tools here that will help you minimize the storage size while retaining image quality. So we're not talking about, there's two different things here, where there's image size, like its dimension size, and there's also the pixel size, and sometimes like if images are like too big, so they might not be able to upload, or it could take up a lot of bandwidth and like it would slow your whole website down. And your site will load like slow if your images are too big. So try to compress your images, okay, as much as possible. That will speed up your website's load speed time. Yeah.
Because I can see the chat. Lalino is asking, image file names, spaces, underscores, dashes, doesn't matter.
Oh, underscores, dashes,
Spaces.
No, sometimes in the file name you could say like you could use a dash, like you could say white apple mouse white maybe white dash apple dash mouse dot jpeg for your file name. And then for your image alt text, you could say, you could use a descriptive sentence. Describe what it is, okay? And sometimes there's like image of a model, like, you know, model wearing striped chiffon organza dress. Something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so dashes in the file name is okay. And but in your image alt text, just write it as a sentence. And don't keyword stuff it. Okay, don't try to put a million keywords in there in your image alt text, because it like doesn't make any sense to Google. Though, like, what is this? You tried to say like, you know, like, I don't know, like you just don't. Oops, I was touching my mouse and it's like, okay. Sorry, yeah.
The way I think about it is if a blind person was on your website, what would you want? Like, how would they understand what is on there? Like,
yeah, you want to describe to them what is on there.
Yeah. So it's just like talking to somebody, really.
Yeah, and write it in as natural way as possible.
And
like,
I think if you, Glynis, if you hit escape on your keyboard, you'll probably be able to see the chat. I think.
Yeah, sorry, it's just
Maybe.
No, here it is. It's just the chat comes up and then it covers my presentation. Yeah, okay, Liliana. Liliana, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So in your file name is okay. You can use dashes. I've seen dashes used.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, but in terms of your, you're asking about image file name. Yeah, that's okay. Spaces, yeah. Yeah, just make sure image alt text is like, it is a descriptive sentence that's like sounds natural to people and not just all bunch of whole random words that you try to stuff in like keywords. It's not a good practice. Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Welcome. Sorry, I have to close this chat box. Thanks, Sandra. Just let me know if you see chat question pop up. Okay, so yeah. Next. Okay, some extra tips here for image search. So it's good to use original images as opposed to stock image. You know, the stock kind of is, people can tell it's a stock image, right? And also when it comes up in the search, sometimes if you use a stock image, there's like a million of the same image that shows up because a lot of people use it, and then somebody who's like trying to, you know, link back to your site or you know, do a citation, they may not like, can't find who the original like person is who created the content, right? They're like, oh. So try to use original images wherever possible. I know sometimes it's, you know, you can't do it for everything. An occasional stock image here and there is okay, but just, yeah, try to use unique images and find related image keywords. So in describing the image, like you may try to use a different descriptive word. This is called latent semantic indexing, and it basically means a synonym to a word. Okay, so say you have a keyword for something. I don't know, say I'm talking about a glass. Here, I have a glass of water. You may say, you know, tumbler or something else to describe. You try to use a synonym for the word that's related, and it could potentially open you up to different audiences from what you normally used to getting if you're always using the same keyword over and over again. Just try using something different. And yeah, and then while watermarking your images can help bring you more traffic by optimizing your image and making sure that it only appears on your site. And it also helps to give credit to that image if somebody uses your image, right? You have like maybe put a little watermark with your website on there or something. That could help as well. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much near the end of the presentation. So if there aren't any questions regarding that, I was gonna just show you a really cool trick here. So one cool trick I showed you was the in URL search operator, right? Trying to find certain keywords in the URL. This one is called a reverse image search. And you can go on Google and search by images. So all you have to do is go to Google and you go to this link, images.google.com, and this will pop up a box where you can upload an image. And then they'll give you results of everywhere that has that image used. I can actually show you this here, kind of a quick example of it, because I thought this was really cool. So you go into this images.google.com, and then you go here, and then you can upload an image. So I had, like here, I had something saved. Okay, here's an image of a Singer sewing machine. And then it shows you like all the results that have this image in it of the sewing machine. Can you guys see this? Yeah, isn't that cool? So like, oh yeah, like this image appears here. This is like all the images with that image in it. Oh, that was really cool. So let's see, let's go back here. Yeah, so that's about it for this presentation today. And if you have any questions, of course, you can ask me here in the chat. We have a few minutes left as well. So you could put your questions, or you can reach out to me afterwards here. My website and my Instagram handle is at Glynis Tao, and you can email me as well. And I also want to give you a free offer, because as a thank you for showing up today and for staying till the end of this presentation and being engaged in all of this, and hopefully have learned something new from this presentation as well. But I am offering a complimentary website assessment where I will run a audit report for you and your site load speed. And then you can book a call with me on Zoom, and I'll actually review it with you and talk about it, and and explain to you what it all means. So, and you'll be getting an email from me like tomorrow with the link to the recording, and I'll put it in there, like the link to schedule a call with me. I'll have a link to my booking calendar where you can book the consultation to get your website assessment. And hopefully you guys take advantage of that. It's an awesome offer. And yes, I will. Let me just stop this right now, and then now I can see the chat. Okay. Yes, any questions?
Yeah, can I just talk? It's easier.
No worries.
So 2 quick questions, because you've talked about like the backlinks, the inbound links, and the outbound off-page SEO. I've been building out resource lists on my website, so I have a lot of links going out, and I'm just wondering like how, like, I feel like now I need to get some inbound links, and like, does that really mess with my website, or does it matter like if there's a balance between the two?
No, not at all. So so in terms of link building, there is internal links, right? That are links that are within your own website. So one link linking to another page on your website. So say you have a blog article, you had talked about something and you were referencing to another blog article. Prior, you could say, internal link to that article or a product. You could like link from sometimes people have like on the homepage, they may have a product for say earrings, and then they're like click here to, and then it goes to the product page. Like it could have a picture of the earring, and so those are internal links. Okay, so this is very good. Like for Google ranking, internal links are important. Actually had the number, I was just looking at this thing here. So internal links here. So in terms of the number of internal links, like say in a blog article, aim for around 3 to 4 internal links per 1,500 words. Okay.
3 to 4.
Yeah, internal links with it. And then external links would be links that you are linking to outside to other websites. So
I have a lot of those right now.
Yeah, so it's good. It helps to build trust between both you and your reader, as well as to search engines. So takes on, it's a factor. And so when you're linking to external sites, consider the trustworthiness of the linking domain that you're linking to, and the popularity of the linking page, and the relevancy of the content between the source page and the target page, and try to link to websites that have a higher domain authority than yours.
Yeah,
or
not
if
all
you're
of them do.
yeah, so try to keep that into account. And then sometimes, like, one of my clients who is a registered nurse, and she has a line of compression socks for nurses. And so she writes a lot of blog articles like for the nursing industry. And then so she talked about the benefits of compression socks. And so she made references like, how it prevents like varicose veins and stuff. So she, I told her, like, put links for varicose veins, link to WebMD. Right? WebMD has very high domain authority. Okay, so
do you need to get permission to do that?
No, not at all. People want that. Like, just like your link building, you're linking to other sites. Like, you could be linking to, even you can review products, even write a testimonial for somebody, for a company that you really love, right? You can get a link from that. And then of course, so internal link, external links, and then inbound links, right? So that would be part of the link building strategy of getting links back to your website. So those are the three.
My other question was, I'm going to be switching from Squarespace to Shopify. To this pool, I believe I'll be keeping the same domain name. So does that affect any existing efforts?
Oh, in terms of SEO? That's a good question. I haven't been asked that before, but
because if it's the same domain name,
it's pointing to the same domain. It's just a different platform, right?
Yeah.
It's instead of Squarespace, it's Shopify. So I think if they're porting like the pages over with the same, like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah. Something I thought of. I wouldn't think so either.
Domain.
And I wouldn't think so either, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna look into that and check. I'll talk to my web developer, because I work with the web developer that helps me with the technical SEO part of it. But that's a good question. Yeah. But I wouldn't think so, right? Like, unless you're doing a total site redesign and you change everything around. Like, if your SEO is there for that site, then
I will be, but I'll be optimizing it, at which point I might need your help.
Yeah. Then I would say do that too, like optimize it. The earlier you do it, the better, because SEO takes time, right? And you can't really say how long is it going to take. Like, it really depends on the keywords that you're trying to rank for and the competitiveness of the keyword, right? So if you have a very competitive keyword you're trying to rank for, it's going to take more time because you got a lot more competition, people ahead of you. And it's a game, right, of trying to like knock the person who's the number one off. Right? So that's
definitely
what
have some
it's all about. So it's and so that's why it helps to start with some long tail keywords, especially if you have a very competitive keyword you want to rank for. Try to go with long tail keywords, which are keywords that have perhaps like 4 or 5 words in it, and they may not have as much search volume on the keyword, but if you have a whole bunch of long tail keywords with, like, say you have one key, one keyword you're trying to rank for that's like has a very high search volume, like say 800, and then but you try to have a longer tail keyword, but they have like maybe 200, the search volume is about 200, but then you have a whole bunch of long tail keywords at like around 200, 100, well, then you can, once all of that is added up together, like that could be a big, you know, it helps you a boost in your ability to rank for those longer keywords, and they're less competitive, so you have a greater chance of being able to rank for those. And a way to also is like, you know, having being able to answer questions, and because I often tell clients, you know, have some kind of FAQ section that answers questions, and so these are good areas where you could put in long tail keywords to very popular questions that people search for on Google, to say looking at for, you know, your product. Or like, for example, one of my clients makes like, you know, brass jewelry, is like, you know, how to care for my brass jewelry, how to clean my brass jewelry. Like, these are good questions, right? People are searching for. I said, put those in your FAQ section. How do I clean my brass jewelry? How do I care for my brass jewelry? How do I keep it from tarnishing? All those questions, that's going to help you. Okay. Any more questions? I hope that wasn't too confusing and I didn't go too fast with that. But Astrid said, thank you so much for your time and sharing your expertise. My pleasure. And, you know, like I said before when I started, like I have a goal of teaching founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, the basics and fundamentals of SEO, so that you understand how it actually works, so that you know that, you know, efforts, you are able to know if your efforts are working, whether or not you are doing the SEO yourself, or if you hire an agency. I think you need to understand, right? You can't just be going, oh, I don't know, right? And what am I paying for this? Is this actually working? Like, I'm just paying money into it. I don't know if my SEO is working. Well, first of all, you have ways of finding out exactly by what I showed you, you know, using free tools that are at your disposal. And also, if you're working with an agency, they should be showing you reports, right? Like on a monthly basis, just like I do with my clients. I provide monthly SEO reports that show you all your, you know, your traffic from Google Analytics. And then it shows you your keywords, which keywords you're ranking for, what position those keywords are ranking for, and what the changes are, who your competitors are, what keywords they're ranking for, where you sit in relation to them, like your visibility. Which pages are getting the most traffic? Where is your traffic coming from? Like, I give you reports like this, and I go over with you every month to explain to you what's happening. And then we also talk about strategy. You know, what can we do? We talk about, you know, link building strategies, who you want to reach out to. Perhaps you want to write a press release and get that submitted, and how much content you want to produce, and I give you a lot of recommendations, like throughout the entire time that we work together. It's not like I'm constantly in contact with all my clients, and I even tell them, it's like, hey, one of your keywords just like entered like page 1 of Google. Because I get alerts that tell me that, oh, your keyword is now like, you know, entered in the top 10 Google. So I share that. I'm like, hey, look, good news. So I'm always in touch with them. And really, my whole thing is that I really want to help you with your business and help your business succeed. And it's not just with SEO, because I think SEO is a part of it, of the entire strategy, right? But because I'm also a business consultant, and that's where I can add value, is that I can help you, you know, with other areas of your business that I come across and see, like, perhaps this part can be improved as well. Or something else I also came across recently was one of my client sites, and I was like looking, and I was like, she's getting pretty good number of sessions like to her site, like really good, but somehow it was not converting. Like she's got her conversion rates were kind of low, and it was below the average. And so we're like, okay, we got to look into this here to see what's going on, because why is there such a number of people who are clicking on the product, it's in the cart, but they're not checking out. Okay, so there's a drop off. So checking stuff like that, that's everything. That's what you would be getting, right? It's not just oh, SEO, like this or that, whatever. But like I do all the keyword research for you. I do all the competitive analysis. Like that is essentially the starting point for any SEO project, but really looking at your whole business as a whole. So yeah, with that being said, you know, I really appreciate everyone joining me here today. And if we don't have any more questions, then just wait, and yeah, you'll get the email tomorrow with the link of the recording and the link to book your complimentary website assessment. And that's about it for now. Okay, thank you all for joining me today. And I really wish you all, you know, stay healthy, stay safe wherever you are now. And hopefully, you know, we'll be in touch soon. And if you can, follow me on Instagram. I really appreciate it. Thank you all. Okay, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.